Hey everyone, it's KJ Freshly, and since there isn't one yet, I thought I would make a nice guide demonstrating the currently used clips and skips in the Fable Any Percent run. Some of these have different ways of doing them. I'm just going to demonstrate the ways that I do them and the ways that I help make them consistent. And a couple things. Well, the main thing to note is that you need your summon creature set to either a hob or a bandit for this to work. And by doing that, you just let your summon creature get the killing blow on either a hob or a bandit, and then boom, you're set. So let's get right into it. This first clip is done after the Trader Escort quest. Instead of going back to the Heroes Guild and getting the bandit quest, we go straight to this area. And as you can see, since we're not on the quest, no bandits spawned, and this gate is closed. But it doesn't matter for us, because we can position ourselves as centered on this bracket as possible, and pretty much parallel to the gate as far as your angling goes. Summon and then Assassin's Rush. Basically what happens here is that you summon your creature, which always comes out on your right side, inside the gate at a specific distance and angle, so that when you rush, you soft target that summon creature and get spit out behind it. It's kind of beautiful. This is probably the easiest clip that's done in the route. So we'll move on to some more difficult ones. The angle's pretty simple, you just want to be parallel, and the positioning is pretty straightforward. So after you run through the area, which is normally filled with bandits, you can either pick up all the bandit gear out of the chests, or you can save 30 seconds, skip all the gear, go to Twin Blades camp like normal, come back to the guild, pick up the quest, buy your weapon and potions. By weapon I mean the Master Greatsword. And then we'll do this clip instead. See, this guy's not going to let us through without the bandit gear, but we don't need the bandit gear. We can just position ourselves here. Now the way I do this gate is I get pretty much centered on this bracket again, maybe a little bit forward if anything. It seems to work, if not completely dead center. I mean, it's pretty much dead center, but if you can see I'm just maybe ever so slightly forward, that's perfectly fine. You also want to be a little more angled than the first gate. As you can notice, I'm pretty angled inward. I mean, it's not substantial, it's very slight, but I am angled. This is probably a perfect spot that if I rush or if I summon and rush, I'll clip through. So we'll go back and troubleshoot a little bit later. Actually, no, we'll just do it now. See if I can clip back through here. I'm probably not going to be able to because I'm terrible. Okay. We'll just move on. Clipping back through the gate is not my strong suit, but you don't really need to do it anyway, so. So normally in this route, you would go that way, blow up that barrel, pick up your Ages potion, and continue up this way. Now, what's important to note for these next gates is that your summon creature needs to be fresh. It can't have been used in a clip previously, because for some reason, it just doesn't want to work. It stands at a weird angle if it's been used before. So you either want to kill it, or in the case of this first area, by the time you go get the potion and come here, it will be expired, or be about to expire, so it'll just go away. So when you get to this gate, positioning yourself around the center is pretty helpful. Whoa, that was... Did you see my head right there? Anyway. See if I can do that again. What is that? Very weird. Very weird stuff. Anyway, you want to position yourself kind of in the center of the gate as most helpful. And then about the same angle as the first gate. Very slight angle kind of towards that far bracket. And when I summon, you'll see that the hob or bandit, whatever, is kind of in the middle of the gate, but more coming out of it. The gate's kind of like cutting him in half. You'll also notice when I turn and walk towards him, I can slide him across the gate. This is a good sign. That means that you've summoned him at a pretty good angle, and that if you hold at this angle and walk towards him in Assassin's Rush, you should just clip through. So for this last gate, I like to kill the summon minion because, like I said, you want a fresh one. I normally blow up that barrel and pick up the potion, but I'm not going to bother right now. And we'll come up to this gate. Now this gate is the same exact thing, except it's a little bigger, which means there's extra chance for there to be some annoying invisible walls, but ultimately it's the same thing. just a little more daunting. You want pretty much the same angle, kind of towards that bracket is a good bet, a little bit towards the middle of the gate. You want to summon, and your creature should be kind of sticking out halfway out of the gate, and you should be able to walk towards it and slide it across the gate, and then you want to rush at that kind of angle facing at it. The other gates you don't have to turn, you know, the first and second gate, but these big gates without the metal brackets, you'll want to turn and face summon creature. So we'll just go through real quick and kind of troubleshoot these very quickly. Whoops, no, actually I want to load. So a couple things that can go wrong, and well, the biggest thing that goes wrong, and the reason why people lose time on these, including me, is if your positioning isn't right and your summon isn't right, and you just rush and miss repeatedly, over and over again. To prevent this, you want to make sure that your summon is good before you start rushing at it and wasting time. The way we do that is there's a couple of things to help us. So I'm going to summon here. Now, I'm going to summon the creature too far into the gate, and the way you would do that is if your angle is too parallel or shallow, like this. I'm not angled enough. My creature is barely poking through the gate, like the tip of his weapon is the only thing you can see. This means that if I rush, I'm not going to clip through, I'm just going to go forward. You don't want that. And then you definitely don't want to go back and just try it again. It's not a good summon. The theory behind this is that the summon creature sticks, or gets summoned to your right, and if I rotate my angle, the summon creature rotates as well. Translated onto the gate, if you kind of just draw a line from the hero into the gate, if I rotate my angle, the summon creature is going to be sticking farther and farther out of the gate as I rotate. You want to use this to your advantage to find a good angle for you. The angle that works for me is about like that. Actually, that's probably too far up the bracket, but about right there is a good angle, and I just know this based on kind of visual memory and practice. But this angle tends to put the summon creature perfectly aligned with the barrack, bracket rather, not the barrack. What am I talking about? A good chunk of his body sticking out, pretty much his whole weapon, his hand, and a little bit of his hip bone. That's for a hob, of course. These visual cues don't really work for a bandit. You kind of just need to guess at that point and use your judgment. But if I Assassin's Rush here, I will clip through because your positioning is half the battle here. The rest of the battle comes from the positioning of your summon creature, which is why your angle is so key here. This next gate, there's a similar thing that can happen. If I'm too shallow of an angle, although this gate's pretty lenient when it comes to, you know, getting through, like that even worked, and I was pretty shallow. If I'm too steep, obviously the creature's going to be too far out, and I'm not going to, oh my god, I clipped through. Okay, that gate's pretty lenient. Like I said, the angle's pretty much just slightly inward, nothing too drastic, and you should be okay. Just make sure that you walk towards it, make sure you can slide your creature along the gate, that's important. I'll kind of show it again here. Notice how I can, that was too far in, so I want to make my angle a little bit steeper. Notice how I can slide, and that's a good sign. That means I'm going to clip through. If I'm too shallow, like I just was, I'm not going to slide him. He's too far in the gate at this point, and I'm not going to clip through. I'm too steep, he's not, he's going to be sticking out of the gate. You don't want that. You want that beautiful half and half that you can, he's gone. That beautiful half and half, just like that, that you can kind of slide and you rush through and you'll clip. Now there's two more clips that use a very similar principle. They're just on different materials, not gates. The next one is actually right after this quest, and is done during the Find the Archaeologist quest. You actually clip through a demon door in this one. Instead of shooting the stones to spell out hits and opening the demon door and watching that cutscene, and then going through and completing the quest, we can just clip through that demon door right away. The principle used here is very similar, like I said. of making sure your angle is good, and possibly coming up with a positioning or a setup that gets you into that angle every time. So when it comes to that, I mean, whatever works for you is probably what you should use, but these tend to be my most consistent ways of doing them. So the way I do this demon door is I kind of walk up to it like this, so I have the most space to walk towards it, and I'm not kind of forced into any angles I don't want. I walk ahead towards this pillar, and right here is the angle I want. I know this by visual memory. This is a good angle. If I make the door parallel, you can see I'm a little bit angled inward. This is an example of too steep of an angle. That will not work if I try the skip. And then this is like, you know, too shallow, too far sticking out. Magic spot is right there. Not too steep, not too shallow, slightly angled. Like I said, the angle kind of translates universally across these skips. Then, once you have this angle down, and like I said, it just kind of takes practice to learn it. I actually summon while I'm facing this way. I turn and face the demon door till it's highlighted, and I assassin rush. That puts me through the gate. This one is not too hard as long as you practice your angles. It's so important you practice the angles. It's really common to be too steep of an angle there, too much towards the door, and then you're just not gonna rush. You'll probably rush straight backwards or something, but you're not gonna clip. So practice really makes perfect when it comes to that one, but that's kind of how I set it up and the angle I use. Now this next split, or not split, clip, is pretty inconsistent. There's a few ways I've seen people do it. I can't do any of those ways. I do my own way, and it's not even... There's no setups for this. It's really kind of goofy the way this works. But basically, what happens is, instead of running up the hill to my right here and killing the minion or whatever, I clipped through this barrier. Now you can see that my minion was about a fourth of the way up the barrier, you know, going this way. It wasn't halfway, it was about a quarter. And my angle was actually pretty steep. I'll do it again since it happens so fast, and you kind of have to do it fast, or else the minions are going to come and ruin your rush and just, you know, mess up your whole day. But I'll do it one more time. I've run through this part so many times practicing this clip. Get this thing going. So, like I said, there's not a lot of advice. You can watch some of the other runners' videos of their runs, and they all do it differently. Giant Steps just runs at it and does it, and so does Queen Sarah. I can't get that to work, though. So what I do is I get about a fourth of the way up, I angle myself pretty steep, and that didn't work. Let me try again. Oh, see, sometimes it just doesn't work. Like, I don't know what to do about it, man. Let's try. Get out of here. What the heck? Did I just clip myself? Whoa! I just clipped through using force push or something. I have no idea what just happened. But clearly this is pretty inconsistent. I have no idea what just happened, actually. I've never seen that. I force pushed myself through the barrier or something. Unless I'm losing my mind and I didn't see something, very weird. We'll try it one more time. That was really bizarre. Like, I'm kind of dumbfounded by what just happened. This part is self-explanatory. We're running. I have no idea what happened. We'll try the strat again. I also don't know why I wasn't clipping through. I mean, if your positioning is ever so slightly off, you're probably not going through, which is why in the current world record run, I don't even try this more than once. Like, what? I'm stuck right there. Like, I clipped through the rock halfway or something. I don't even know what to say about this. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. See, I'm like halfway clipped through the barrier as it is right there. Okay, so I think my problem was I was a little bit not far up enough. Even then, I was not even close to a quarter of the way up. So yeah, I would say my strat is, if I have a strat, is about a quarter of the way up. It's a Fable strat, so I'm talking. Quarter of the way up the barrier, and pretty steep angle. I mean, that's all the info I got on this one. If you want to try it, best of luck to you. But I wouldn't recommend you try it more than once, without, you know, risking losing a lot of time. Anyway, those are the clips. That's how I do them. That's how I make them consistent for me. And hopefully this helps you. Take it easy and good luck.